All right. It is my great honor to introduce a woman who truly embodies the heart and spirit of empowerment, Dr. Michele Winchester Vega. Professionally, Dr. Michele owns one of the largest outpatient mental health practices in the county, a practice comprised entirely of professional women. She has served on the Council of Social Work Women's Commission in Washington, D.C., and on the board of directors from the Community Foundation of Orange and Sullivan, the Eleanor Roosevelt Center of Valkill, Kids for Causes, and numerous other boards. Her commitment to giving back has earned her the nickname, the $1 Million Woman. Having helped raise millions of dollars for a wide variety of charitable causes, such as Habitat for Humanity, Fearless, Hospice, and Nora Cronin Presentation Academy. And those are all places that we work with as well, which is just a great collaboration. Somehow, Michele seems to have discovered the secret of adding more hours in a day than the rest of us. After working a full-time career, she doesn't slow down. She simply shifts gears and pours herself into serving others. There is hardly a week that goes by when she's not attending a fundraiser, chairing one, or inspiring others to step forward and get involved. If you know her, you know she does it all with a smile. She has a remarkable gift for bringing people along with her, partly because she believes so deeply in the cause, and partly because she doesn't take no for an answer. Her excellence and impact have been widely recognized. She is the recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award from the NASW Mid-Hudson chapter and is listed in the Cambridge Who's Who registry among executive and professional women, Who's Who of American Women, and Marquee Who's Who. Fearless, compassionate, determined. She is the very definition of a woman who empowers others by example. Please join me in warmly welcoming our Women Empowerment speaker, Dr. Michele Winchester Vega.
Okay, so there's a backstory, as there always is. One of the women that is in my group is her best friend from childhood. So I've had the real pleasure of watching Marianne, and look at what she's done. Could these be cuter? I mean, seriously. Okay, so Marianne did text me, and she said, Dr. Michele, will you speak at the sister? Yes. She goes, Dr. Michele, you're going to charge? No. Dr. Michele, can you do a donation? Yes. That's the way it goes with Marianne. You just say yes and everything goes all right. Well, anyway, she said to me, we know that you're chairing 5 big events this year, domestic violence, Habitat, Hospice, blah, 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 blah. And I said, yes. And I said, I will come, but only if my doctor and my very dearest best friend, Dr. Jensen, gets to come with me, just in case. No, I travel with Sue. So the other day, Dr. Jensen and I were at the flower show in Philadelphia. Has anyone gone to that? Isn't that something? Well, I took a day off. I didn't tell the practice. I just said I'm not going to be in because we don't get many days off, but at any rate. And she said, forget it. She wanted me to talk about leadership, or she wanted me to talk about resilience. And so, Marianne, you said I could talk about anything. So what I'm going to be talking about is begonias. All right, so there are 3 begonias here. If you look on the kiss that you got, if on the bottom of the wrapper there's a black round circle, you get one. There we go, come on up. Pick one, there's 3. Who has the other circle? Oh, you didn't get one.
I didn't know what it was when I said that.
Okay, you pick one. Oh, they didn't get to go all the way around yet? Did everyone get a kiss? No. All right, she just cheated. Come on up. All right, she gets one. They didn't go. Oh, there we go. And you have one. Come on up and get one. You can give these to her. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to just ask you a question, okay? We're all women, right? All women here today? Yes. Did anyone pest you in the last 72 hours?
Oh,
Just raise your hand if anyone pested you. And if it was a man, it's okay. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and that's why I have an all-female practice. I'm just kidding. I can't find a guy to join us, that's why. All right, so begonias. They're considered one of the most resilient plants there are. Who knew? And it's due to their adaptable nature, robust root system, and resistance to pests, and diseases. Who knew that? I didn't. So when Marianne asked me, can you speak about resilience? I thought, yeah. Because if you think about it, people who are resilient share those qualities. Adaptability, in this case, to light and temperature. And when you think about it, people who are resilient have what they call grit. And I would say any day of the week, grit and tenacity are the most important attributes. Not your brilliance, not your degrees, all of that. It's the ones who are forced out. Get on your feet, get going. Not the ones hiding and behind all kinds of things that they use as excuses for not getting on. The second, robust root system. When you think about resilient people, very often resilient people are not the ones that have had it the easiest. Why are people, and even in the Olympics, and last night started the Paralympics, you think about those stories. Against odds, they're still alive and they're still doing these. When I saw one of them fall off of their ski going down the hill, I was like, because they're in these like buckets going 75 miles an hour down these hills. Why are, like, how do you do that? And why are they still after that? Many, many, many people who are resilient did not have an easy life. Third, believe it or not, begonias are resilient because they are low maintenance. And also, as I said, pests and diseases, they're pretty resistant to those too. And so what about keeping yourself healthy? I want to know who in this room, as a woman, gives yourself a half hour every day just for you. Stop it right now. I want to marry you. Well, there was only like 3, okay? So the rest of us are still losers. And why is that? Why is that? And really, the only way to become resilient is to really begin to care almost as much for yourself as you do everybody else. And the last is versatility in environments. They grow well wherever they are. And when you think about a person going to different places, the ones that are resilient seem to land. Words have been used like bouncing back, adapting, navigating adversity, recover from disputes and from setbacks. And last, because she said, and remember, I was a professor for 8 years down at Albert Einstein, and she says, Michelle, you have 5 minutes. So I have all of this I wanted to talk to you about. And the core concepts and research insights, if anyone wants the real stuff, I have it. There is this word, hero, H, hope, E, efficacy, R, resilience, and O, optimism. I'm thrilled to be here, and really, what a sweet little party you put on every time. And, I was sitting here before I started, and Karen DeCrosta reminded me that it was 20 years ago. We looked the same then. And we started fundraising that day for Nora Cronin Presentation Academy. 20 years ago. Incredible. so many stories I could tell, but a few of you gave me a few dollars to give to the sisters if I didn't tell them. Like Marianne, I rented her beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place at LB Island for many years. And I can't believe it because her babies were babies and now they're going off to college. I mean, just in a minute, we're 20 years at this. So it's really a delight to be here. And thank you. You guys look beautiful, just gorgeous. And I thank you so much. And what you're going to hear next is a doctor who really will share with you why and how she is resilient. Happy Women's Day.
Thank you, Dr. Michelle.
Sure.
Okay. Today am I taller than you?
Yeah.
I'm not taller than many. Okay, today we are privileged to welcome a woman whose life is a beautiful witness to faith, leadership, and unwavering commitment to education. Sister Dale McDonald. Sister Dale serves as Vice President of Public Policy at the National Catholic Education Association, where she advocates nationally for Catholic schools and the families they serve. A proud sister of the Presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary, she carries forward one of the founding ministries of our congregation, Catholic education, with passion, intelligence, and courage. Sister Dale has served as an elementary and secondary school teacher and administrator, shaping young minds and mentoring future leaders. Prior to joining NCEA, she was director of the Catholic School Leadership Program at the Boston College Graduate School of Education, forming principals and leaders who continue to transform schools across the country. Her voice is respected not only in the classroom, but in the highest levels of national leadership. She has served on committees convened by the White House, the U.S. Department of Education, and the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. She has testified before congressional committees on education policy and regularly walks the halls of Capitol Hill to advocate for students, families, and the future of Catholic education. She is a trusted leader, someone you can always count on, and as many of us know, she always says yes when called to serve. Sister Dale's academic achievements reflect her deep commitment to excellence. She holds a PhD in Educational Administration from Boston College, a Master of Science from Pace University, and both a Master of Arts and Bachelor of Science from Fordham University. But beyond the titles, publications, boards, and honors, Sister Dale is a champion, a woman of conviction, clarity, and compassion. She understands that empowering women begins with educating hearts and minds, and she has dedicated her life to ensuring that Catholic education remains strong, vibrant, and accessible for generations to come. Please join me in warmly welcoming a tireless advocate, respected national leader, and faithful sister of the Presentation, Sister Dale McDonald.
Thank you. And really, I'm just me. Well, thank you, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. It's so nice to see most of you I don't know, many I do, and I'm happy to make new acquaintances, so thank you for joining us. And when Marianne asked me to share women's empowerment, whatever way I wanted to, in 7 to 10 minutes. Like, now what? So it could go a lot of different ways. Can people hear me in the back? They told me to make sure. No?
Yes.
Okay. How's that? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So I figured just keep it simple, focus on one idea. So I'd like to start first by explaining how I look at women's empowerment. And I see this as really a concept in the singular rather than in the plural, in any kind of movement, momentum. Women's empowerment is interchangeably used sometimes with women's liberation, but that's not where I'm coming from in this. As I say, I focus on the empowerment as an active engagement in which a woman is enabled to take proactive steps toward her own self-actualization. And for me, that's the process of becoming stronger and confident in controlling one's life and one's own rights. That then includes concepts such as becoming self-aware, self-confident, and able to make independent decisions. It involves making choices that align with personal values and goals, as well as boundary setting, and that's an important piece. The boundary setting is as important as being self-aware. It's not an exercise in self-aggrandizement. When it's done well, it involves collaboration and cooperation with other women, and that's part of my whole life experience. From what Marianne read, I've had a lot of very interesting and fulfilling events in my life and ministries, and ones I hope have benefited other people as well as myself. But I'm proud to say, that my own empowerment has come, not just from gifts of grace and nature, but really from membership in this congregation, a congregation of women religious who are supportive. Almost all of what I have done. I came to the congregation from high school, so I have developed within this congregation with the support of one another. So from the earliest examples, our founder, Nano Nagel, and the women she worked with, and then all the women I have known and lived with and worked with, I've always experienced that we support one another, and we try to encourage each other to be what God calls us to be and do. To be first, and then to do. And that's the important thing. Who are we as a woman first, and then as a woman religious, and then professionally? For most of my early years, I thought I would be a history teacher. I liked it. It was what I was doing, high school history. And I would have stayed with that forever. I just assumed that was where I was going, because in those days, for the most part, that's what happened. You worked until you dropped. As one of the sisters used to say, right? As one of these sisters used to say, we retire the first day of the wake. So, we're pushing it. I'm pushing it, but here we are. But Sister Clementine was a sister of charity. She was the principal at Cathedral High School in New York, and she saw something in me. And started to assign me other responsibilities and tasks that had me say, maybe I did have leadership potential. And most importantly, that I should embrace it, not be afraid of responsibility, but to do that. And so that's been, something that changed my life completely in a lot of ways. It certainly opened up all of the avenues that I've had opened to me. But what I find so encouraging is that for many women in the early centuries, convents were one of the few paths to female exercises of autonomy, but not total independence. I think that's an important piece. As women religious, we live a life of interdependence, where we support one another, mutual support. We're not, a lone agent doing whatever we do. And this support really, I think, enhances our autonomy and our own sense of self-worth rather than diminishing it. So that's an important difference, I think, among women religious, that we are committed to one another and to the mission, and I'm grateful for that through all my years. I'm 68 years this year, a sister of the presentation, so. Doing the math on your fingers, okay. Thank God I have good health. So throughout the past 4 or so centuries, women religious orders played a major, though very often under-recognized, role in advancing women's empowerment in areas of education, healthcare, leadership, and social reform. So rooted in their faith traditions and committed to serve one another, many communities created really rare spaces where women could exercise authority, gain education, and influence society. Often centuries before secular society allowed women to do anything without a man being there to make the final decisions. So what can we learn from that? First, I'd say again that access to education is what empowers women first and foremost. Many women's orders were pioneers in girls' education in areas where female literacy was even rare. They created single-sex education institutions that fostered self-confidence and leadership abilities in women that led to professional opportunities and social mobility long before access to education was available. So how many of you here went to a single-sex school? Seems to be mostly the nuns, okay. Few are not, okay.
I'll say Mary.
And most of the sisters in this room, if not all, there might be one or two that I did not go to high school with or in the general area of high school. We're all St. Michael's girls. Religious life provided women with early models of female leadership and institutional governance. Inside religious orders, women held positions of authority that were rare in society. Mother superiors governed communities, they managed property, oversaw finances, and made institutional decisions, all on their own. Women religious orders have actively supported the poor and marginalized groups, addressing issues like immigration, poverty, racial justice, and human rights, and anti-trafficking as well. Mary Ann read our mission, part of our mission commitment earlier when she introduced the program. In the spirit of our foundress, Nano Nagel, presentation Sisters and Associates commit ourselves to address the needs of women and children, especially as they are impacted by economic, environmental, and racial inequity. As far as we've come, there's still so much more to go, and so much more for so many women who are not in our part of the world. But truth be told, over the years, it has not all been easy or gone well for religious orders. Religious orders have operated, and we still do, within a patriarchal church structure. But even with these constraints, we have been able to carve out spaces where we have autonomy, influence, and able to engage in the kind of work that we want to do. And doing so have helped other women as well. Even when the Vatican investigated women religious, there was this period back in 2009 to 14 where people started at the Vatican to question, the quality of life and adherence to church norms. The nuns were, secular mentality, feminist spirit, and began this investigation that, for the most part, we just continued to carry on, and some complied with requests for information, some did not. But the most gratifying thing out of all that was to see how much public support we got from lay people who really appreciated and saw that we were doing what the gospel called us to do, regardless of what the men in Rome said we were doing or not doing. And then after all the turmoil, the final report affirmed the dedication and selfless service of U.S. women religious in all essentials of the life of the church and society. So we continue. So for centuries, convents and religious congregations were among the most significant institutional spaces where women could lead, learn, shape society. We empowered women's empowerment. We fostered other women's empowerment by educating girls, creating professional careers, modeling female leadership, providing economic independence, advocating for social justice, and giving voice and encouragement to women to claim their own empowerment. Perhaps some of you here today have had your own empowerment advanced by other women. So I just want to also say in conclusion that throughout all of the history, women's orders did not work alone. There was not isolation from one another. Now, sure, there was some competition, who had the highest girls enrollment, who got the most vocations to the convent in the days when we counted that, But by and large, women's groups did collaborate with one another to see that all women were able to do what they were doing inside their convents and ministries. And so that sense of fraternal and maternal collaboration continues. And we see even today as women's religious orders are aging and diminishing in numbers, we are collaborating with one another. Our congregation is working with several others in the Hudson Valley to support one another in ways that help us to keep the mission going. So, I think the important piece is that we have a mission that we're called to do. We invite people to share with us. We talk about our associates, we talk about presentation people. And so, we invite you to be part of the presentation community, be presentation people with us and help us in our ministry and maybe even get personally involved in some part of that ministry. So here I am, a product of the congregation that made me, and happy to be a part of it and invite you to be a part of it. So thank you and blessings.
Thank you.